Hi, and welcome to the SkillTree podcast. On this show, we'll be interviewing the team behind SkillTree, its community, and creators that are making this movement happen. This is our first iteration of the show, so we really want to show the behind the scenes of who's really building what. On the show today, we have a special guest, Mostafa Shalaby, our recommender system engineer. Mostafa, welcome. I'd love for you to give a quick little introduction about what you do and a little bit more about yourself.
Of course. Hi, I'm Mustafa. Thank you so much for having me. I am working on the recommender system. Me and Javier, we're working on really putting the vision into light there. I'm also the founder of Victoria Calisthenics, previously a university club and now a community-wide movement as well, pushing calisthenics to a wider audience. I'm very passionate about calisthenics and developing and really linking these two worlds, and SkillTree is making that happen. Pushing fitness to a wider audience is something I'm very passionate about, and I'm very excited to get deeper and talk about it today too.
Amazing. Yeah, Mostafa, he's actually a really good friend of mine. We met through uh, being tangential calisthenics club presidents. And actually, I don't know, Mostafa, when did you guys start your club?
We started our club, it's 2025 now. I think we started February of 2024 last year, which is crazy to think about. Since then, so much has happened in the calisthenics world, and we've seen it happen. And through the club, yeah, I've met you through Discord as well, and yeah, it's time passes, eh? It's a long, it's been a while.
Yeah, that's amazing. Actually, I thought you guys were a lot you were established for longer. Being only kind of around for a year, I'm very, very surprised on how much you've grown. Um, so yeah, tell us a little bit about what you're doing with SkillTree and kind of what brought you onto the team.
100%. So I'm remembering to for the initial stages of SkillTree when it first started. I remember you sent me a quick intro, like, "Hey, we're working with this calisthenics app, and we know that you're an engineer and that you've been wanting to work on something on the side as well. And if you would join us, that would be great." And I remember seeing that message. I was in Egypt back then. I was traveling. I remember seeing that and I was like, yeah, like let's go. Like this is something that links my passion for calisthenics and development as well. And at the time, I was learning full stack development after I graduated from college, and that was back, I think, in January, maybe. So I was very passionate about joining, and I remember when we first started, it was me and Anton on the recommender system team. Um, Back then, I think it was like way more hazy. Like there weren't really any the actual split into there is a recommender system team or not wasn't really there in the beginning. I remember we were first iterating on how the progressions were going to work in the first place. I remember hopping on Canva with you and really sitting down and like nailing it to the very basics. Like, okay, uh, we want users to progress to a handstand. Okay, that's fine. How would the user get to a handstand? Like, how would we do that in our respective clubs? Like, just even outside of the app itself. Um, okay, like handstands could be broken down into different movements that you have to unlock first. Okay, this looks like a tree. We can have this be in sort of like nodes that are connected together. And okay, like if you have the handstand, you probably have other movements as well. And just like that thinking, it really just naturally became a tree-like structure of different movements being linked together with different progressions, different muscle groups, even as attributes. And it all really came through iteration on that. And I remember when that process was done, having all of these progressions laid out like next to each other, um, it was quite something. Like I saw a lot of potential in that. And then later on, I think me and Anton, we were put on the recommender system team to really push this vision to light. And that's when we started. But that was the initial stages, if you remember.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I remember I was calling you up in Michigan at the time, and I was getting up at like I think it was like maybe 5 a.m., 4 a.m. sometimes to call, but it was
Time
really
difference was
fun.
brutal.
I had a lot of fun building those trees, and I think, like you said, yeah, the tree structure is something that I think not only we've seen, but if you go on Reddit, a lot of people have made their similar versions. I think we based ours off of a similar one as well. Um, and yeah, and it was back in that day. I think it was very much still a project for us. I think I've learned a lot since then about how startups work and really how to nail down, solving user problems and creating a product that there's a real need for. And it's definitely transitioned a lot since then. Like I remember our initial iteration, it was very, very just like Duolingo inspired. And so, yeah, seeing where we are now, I think it's kind of beautiful to see, like you said, just being able to iterate on ideas and make sure that we're really honing down this like engineering process. So it's very cool.
Hmm.
So tell me a little bit about you've done a lot with the recommenders system, and pretty much you laid out how the exercise progression works. I'd love to just get the viewers a little bit more in depth on how you did that and what challenges you might have faced along the way.
Of course. So going again from the very initial stages, um, that's kind of how I have it in my head, and like how it progresses, you're gonna see like how far it has come. From the very beginning stages, I remember me and Anton, we were thinking, okay, there were like a lot of initial considerations as to how it's gonna fit in with the backend of the app itself, because there are always two approaches you can have like with any app. You can have a single like monolith structure where all of the backend lives together. But then the other approach, which we took later on, was to have sort of microservice, something that lives on by itself and that interacts with the actual app through the API endpoints. And that's what we went with near the end. So me and Anton were thinking, okay, we need to host this thing somewhere, and we need to have it be able to communicate with the app and really push um, these workouts or what have you into the app itself and have it being pulled by the app. Um, what it looked like on a very high level too. Basically, I was thinking, okay, we need a certain database for these workouts. How are we able to have the different handstand progressions? How are we able to have the different maybe pistol squat progressions, different push-up progressions, etc. And what I ended up deciding there was a leveling system was necessary, so that you could put every exercise on a global leveling scale. Say, for example, a handstand is like a level 4. If you unlock the handstand, that means that you were able to unlock other progressions as well, and that would push them to the other trees. So by the end, we had a database of different exercises, each with different muscle groups. And when you're actually creating the workout itself, say you're on the handstand progression node and you select a 15-minute workout, it's going to pull from the database. And it's going to select certain stuff for the warm-up, certain stuff for the strength, stuff for the skill, stuff for the cool down, based on your muscle groups, based on the duration you selected, and it pulls it all into a workout together. And you're able to shuffle these exercises as need be. If you like an exercise or not, you're able to shuffle it. And then the user progresses similar to a Duolingo style, where you go down the tree, and if you're strong enough, you're gonna be able to continue on, and it's gonna help you progress through your whichever tree you pick and choose.
Yeah, that's very impressive. I want to explain a little bit more about why we chose to do it in that fashion. A lot of fitness apps, they end up being note takers. So you have to do a lot of stuff while you're in the gym to be able to track your exercises. And as we ended up diving more into what our app tries to solve, the specific feature that you were building for the workouts came from the idea that progression is very hard. People are very there's a lot of decision fatigue when it comes to learning new exercises. Like, who am I going to watch on YouTube? What exercise am I going to follow? What do I even enjoy doing? And so that shuffle feature you were talking about was one of those things where we're like, okay, let's give the user some choice in what exercise they get to do, but it's going to be enough where it's, a click of a button and then they can decide if they like it or not. Otherwise, everything's pretty much hand fed. Even the sets, reps, the amount of time, it's all based on kind of what you said, your recommender system, where it will automatically base it off of your user level and where you are in terms of your progression. So I find that makes us very unique. I look at a lot of these other calisthenics apps out there, and they tend to be a collage of the YouTube videos that these influencers make, which I actually have used in the past, and they are very good. But by the same token, I also find it very hard to know what specifically I want to do, especially if I want a holistic, well-rounded exercise rather than spamming a specific skill. So
Mhm.
I do think we try to tackle that very nicely here in SkillTree.
And I think also the way the app is laid out, like you said, when you have different progression trees, you're able to just open the app. You're a beginner to calisthenics, or even if you're not, but especially if you're a beginner, you don't really know which stuff you're able to target at the right time. And say, for example, like you open the app, you have these different progressions. You're like, okay, I want to work on my handstand. But you're not really able to tell if you're at a certain level or not in your handstand journey because you just started. If you look at these different YouTube videos or what have you, you could be led down a very maybe wrong is the not the right choice of words, but maybe not the appropriate level of exercises you should be doing at this time. But the good thing about this app is that it's able to tell your level, and it's able to see where exactly you're at the current moment, and it's able to have you progress in a very safe and appropriate manner. And it does all of the progressions for you as well, which is really, really important. And it takes away, as someone who started in calisthenics, like I don't even know when I started, probably around 3 years ago in calisthenics, or in COVID times, stopped, returned again. But I've been in the calisthenics world for like a while. And this knowledge comes with experience and comes with different iterations, like trying stuff, seeing it doesn't work, okay, and then you keep iterating on it. The app really is built through that lens. Like we already know the exercises, we already know the progressions you should make. We know how to get you there. So if you just follow it, you're gonna get there. And that's something I find really valuable, and I wish it was there when I first started. It makes progression very easy in my eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering, do you have any kind of questions for me? I know we usually don't speak at length like this, so I'd love to know any thoughts you've had in your head recently.
Definitely. Let me think. Uh, I guess, yeah, we talked at length in the very initial stages of the app. I remember when we were iterating on the actual exercises in the very beginning. And we talk every now and again, like when we check in with the recommender system and the business side of things. But I guess I'm wondering now, um, the app itself, where do you see it sort of launching in the US? Like, are you targeting certain competitions, for example? I know I'm in Canada and I lead my own uh, Victoria Calisthenics Club right here, which I'm trying to grow as well. How do you plan to advertise this app face to face to the athletes that we see day to day on the grounds, I guess?
Can you try asking that again? I think your mic is a little cutting out a little bit.
Sure. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it was just going in and out.
Oh, sure. Uh, from the beginning, like me and you were both on the grounds. Like we see the calisthenics athletes, we meet with them, um, and we go to different events. I know I do, for example, I go to different events around Canada, and I try to be involved with the community, and I do you do as well. Um, how do you plan to involve this with the community? Have you thought about that? Do you have any plans that way? Would love to hear.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think what we've built at SkillTree is very much meant for beginners right now. Our most advanced skill is a handstand, and I do think it targets a lot of different niches right now. So when I think about like our push-up progression, I know a lot of people, they're actually still trying to get their first push-up, and that's a very, you know, I think competition level push-ups are very simple. That's your bread and butter for a lot of other skills. Same thing with plank, pistol squats, a little bit more advanced there. But yeah, then we have our handstand, which is probably the most advanced thing we have. But yeah, the way I see kind of the progression of the app as we launch is I see a lot of beginners adopting the app to start. I even see our own communities trying the app out to duel each other. I know we have the duel feature where you can tap your friend and say, "Hey, I did 50 push-ups in a minute, right? Um, let's see how many you can do," and then you got about 3 days to respond. Like that, I think will be a very fun feature for a lot of the community. Now, coming back to just like the progressions and the competitions, I think as we get more users and some more traction going, we can definitely ramp up the amount of progressions that we have, the skills, and even build out more models for people to play with. It really depends on kind of what the users want. But yeah, our initial launch I see in the local communities where, they're still very much a beginner. And then later on, if there is more want for the competition scene, I know that part's still very much developing in the US. I know in Europe and even South America, Mexico, calisthenics is a lot bigger. Even in like my family, they're from Taiwan, and I'll go to the parks out there, and they're a lot better suited for calisthenics exercise. You got pull-up bars, you have a lot more of these outdoor machines rather than I know here in the US, the parks typically have a playground and maybe some more mobility machines that not many people take advantage of. So I definitely see as it grows and there's probably more interest around the US, um, we can expand. And I think it'd be super cool to build out like an ELO system. So we could have the global top users share how many push-ups they can do, how long they can hold a handstand, and we may even be able to expand into more competitions and maybe thinking about hosting one ourselves. Um, but yeah, I definitely could see it as a tool to really help train and get people to a state where, yeah, they can compete in these local or even national competitions that are popping around. I think there's a lot of potential. I think the hardest part right now is really just growth and traction, as this is my first experience in a startup, especially as a B2C, a business to consumer. It's more difficult than a B2B business would be, business to business, as we have to find people organically and really build out a community before anything really starts rolling.
It makes sense. And I think the calisthenics world, it's a very like it operates in a circle. Like you have this app, it gets beginners into calisthenics in the first place, and once you're really into it, you start to develop a sense of, okay, these are the movements I can do. What else can I do? And you keep pushing yourself until you can do like crazy stuff. So that definitely hits home, and what also hits home is how in the US the playgrounds and parks, they're not where maybe you want them to be. Same in Canada as well. I see a lot of these mobility machines that not many people use, and the lack of pull-up bars, which is you see way more definitely like kids stuff. But I'm hoping that will change as well. Maybe as the scene grows, as maybe municipalities or cities or what have you realize the potential of this. Maybe this would change. It's very easy to put bars in a lot of places, and that's why they are in Europe and stuff in the first place. It's really not that expensive, and a lot of people utilize it. And I think if the community grows through the app or what have you, or elsewhere or otherwise, maybe we would see like a grow or a rise in that, which would be very exciting for me personally too.
Yeah, it's honestly it's my vision for the future. I do hope to see it. It's interesting because I know I look back and see how when my grandfather went to school here in the US, they actually had like a kind of more calisthenic style fitness program
Uh,
in lieu of PE in their high schools. And that kind of we moved away from that in the US. Not entirely sure what reason. I think probably safety concerns or maybe a trying to be inclusive. Though I see a resurgence definitely happening within the last few years. Myself personally seeing 12 to 15 schools popping up, universities, just students wanting to run their own clubs. It's really cool to see, and I really hope the kind of trend comes back to the US because it really has a lot of not even just fitness benefits or you look good, you feel good. It's a good way to use your free time. There's a lot of benefits I think we could talk about, but um, yeah, it would be super cool. I agree.
it's a lot of community too. Like I think that's my favorite part about it. Definitely because I've been in I started out lifting when I was 16 back in Egypt. And in the gyms and stuff, there is also a community. But when I switched to calisthenics and I switched to working out outside, and even when I started my own club and grew it that way, the community is much tighter together because maybe because it's still like a small niche that is growing. When you see somebody that also does calisthenics, you're already really connected to that person. You're like, okay, are you doing these moves? Are you doing that? And you really connect on that way, which is my favorite aspect. You can do it while traveling. When I recently was in Quebec and in Toronto even, and I met up with the Calisthenics Canada community and the Montreal community, and I saw the potential there. The meetups in Toronto, for example, the one I went to, there was way over 100 people at that same spot competing and training together, and it was an amazing thing that you wouldn't see in any other community. You wouldn't see at the gym, maybe even like at a powerlifting meet, like it wouldn't be that dense and close together, I would say, which was really amazing to see, and it even gave me inspiration to like, okay, wow, like this is a thing that's already growing in this part. Why not grow it in other parts? The potential is there. The infrastructure is easy to have. You just need bars. That's literally all you need, and the desire for doing the movements. And when you get even like a small group of like 5 people like working out together and giving each other tips and tricks, that multiplies and the community grows. Uh, just even through word of mouth, it's like a very street sport,
Hmm.
and that's why I like it. Um, yeah, it's very exciting for me.
Yeah, I would say we have a few minutes left here. I want to ask you if you have any kind of future endeavors or just last comments for our users if you want.
Of course. Um, I think the recommender engine right now is at a good state. I can't wait for people to try it. And moving forward, the more people we have to test out the app, the more we can really reiterate on the system, make it work even better, add more exercises, get more feedback as to the stuff that should be out of the app, because the world of calisthenics is really endless in terms of the movements you can do, the scale you can push it. It's endless, and that's really exciting. Uh, so I would love for people to try the app and let us know what they think, and get stronger with the app as well.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank everyone. If you've been listening for this far, thank you for your attention. We really appreciate just any support that we can get. Um, we're doing our best to grow this community by ourselves. So if you would love to, give us a shout out, a share, a follow, share us with a friend that you think might be interested. We'd really, really appreciate that. So without further ado, thank you all, and we'll see you next week.